has been Keystone's history to have our board members and our team members urgently encourage leaders to use collaboration to solve problems, and to make sure that when they do that, we are driving long-lasting and beneficial results. I previously was a CEO and a past awardee, and I have personally had many experiences where things were extremely difficult, but we found that constructive dialogue made all the difference.
It's by meeting people where they are, both geographically and intellectually, that leads to the reputation that Keystone has with respect to trust and mutual respect. And importantly, that was the vision of Bob Craig when he founded this organization almost 5 decades ago. You know, Bob looked at this and said that we do this and we look at these intractable problems and we find solutions by engaging people and finding solutions together rather than dictating to people on what they should do.
Bob was so important to so many of us in this room. He was a mentor, a father to me. And I know, I can't look at Judy O'Brien because she's crying. I know his lasting impact isn't just our organization, it's in all of us. And so many of us who are present today, supporting not only the Keystone Policy Center, but the impactful work that you're doing, and I know Bob had something to do with that.
At Anterix, we're working with a large ecosystem, and really our approach, and again, listening to Bob Craig's vision of what Keystone is, couldn't be any more aligned with what Anterix is, and it's a collaborative approach. With folks like Paula, we now have utilities in 15 states that are building these private broadband networks that are helping to drive this important capability across the nation. We have over 100 companies, part of our active ecosystem program, that are technology leaders driving valuable applications and use cases for things like wildfire mitigation, being able to do flood monitoring, being able to do simple applications that individually are important but collectively add up considerably.
Yeah, this is a process that just kicked off last week with our Office of Water and the Ag Office, and I think it's a good example where a really difficult challenge of how we solve for water quality outcomes when it comes to animal ag production. It's a long-standing challenge. Administrator Regan made a decision to try to bring lots of folks to the table from all sides of the conversation: environmental NGOs, producers, academics, state governments. I've been working in multi-stakeholder collaboration for a number of years, including with Keystone in my prior role at Field to Market. I have never seen a more diverse ideological set of stakeholders than that process that kicked off last week. And there's inherent risks to that, bringing folks together, but he believes that we are better off for getting all of those, that expertise, those lived experiences into the room together to find out, is there common ground, is there commonality? Can we find areas where there could be agreement? And he's committed to that. I just felt like that is very aligned with the type of work that so many people in this room are doing, and we're trying to do it within the federal government as well.
I don't think the tension's going to go away soon, but I think in spite of the tension, there is enormous scope for progress. I just want to point to a couple of things which people in this room are actively working on, and where our colleagues across the country are engaged. Almost everybody, Congress, members of the public, the communities in state legislatures along the lines of the conversation we just saw, are worried about things like adequacy of electricity. We could do more on that front. People agree. People agree that we'd like to see more manufacturing come back to the US. We agree we'd like to build an economy that is stronger and manufacturing can help, and we could use green technologies as a driver. We agree. We agree that managing the consequences to the most disadvantaged communities because it's hot, or because it's flooded, or because there are wildfires, we agree as a nation that we can act. We may not agree about the precise policy, we don't like the terminology always, but at the core, there is a level of agreement which I think we're beginning to see, which gives me an enormous amount of hope.
What happened while we were in Jerusalem, we had 2 daughters born there, the invasion of Iraq occurred while we were there, 9/11 occurred while we were there. And what we saw being established was essentially the unbalance. We had a situation of kind of balance and containment, and then invading Iraq, as we've seen, there's been a formation of basically a Shia crescent with Iran on the move. And that is really what's underpinning everything you're seeing in the Middle East right now. Iran is trying to push the U.S. out of the Middle East, trying to destroy Israel with its proxies. There's a proxy war taking place. The reason the Middle East is important, because it is the center, has been for decades, of energy supplies. But where I sit at the Pentagon, we can't take our eyes off the ball that Ukraine and Russia matter, and obviously the looming threat is China and what will happen with Taiwan. But I would just say we can't afford as a nation, and this is what's so important about the Keystone Policy Center. Bipartisan solutions are necessary for national security. We cannot ignore any corner of the world. what we found as journalists over the last 30 years, blind spots become hot spots.
Wonderfully put. Thank you so much. Thank you all.